people of Earth, and welcome back to the Starfield. Today we're doing something a little bit different. The first thing you'll notice is that I am not whispering. I thought I would do a softly speaking video. This is going to be a non-traditional video for a lot of reasons. The biggest one is that the last video that I filmed, what you're watching right now, had no audio recorded. My microphone was not being registered, so I got none of my commentary. But don't worry, it was witty, it was insightful. It's everything you've come to expect. But since we don't have that, I thought what I would do instead is read some books to you. So, if you have been following the channel, I have a toddler, so he is under 2. And I thought I would read you some of his favorite books. And we'll start with one of my favorites, actually. And this book is Paddington Cleans Up. Paddington Cleans Up by Michael Bond and David McKee. Published by G.P. Putnam Sons, New York. One morning, Mrs. Brown and Mrs. Bird went out for the day and left Paddington to look after the house. "I shall wash up all the breakfast things while you are gone," he said. "And then if I have any time left over, I may do a little cleaning up." "Oh dear," said Mrs. Brown, "I don't like the sound of that." As soon as the others had gone, Paddington set to work. He washed all the breakfast cups and saucers and plates and put them in a rack to dry. Then he did the dusting, and after that he washed the dusters and the towels and hung them up to dry. When he had finished hanging up the dusters and towels, he started making a special chocolate cake as a surprise for Mrs. Brown and Mrs. Bird when they got back. Paddington liked cooking, and he was soon busy mixing flour and cocoa and sugar and milk together in a large bowl. It wasn't until he put his paw in the mixture to make sure it tasted as it should that he saw he had made a mess with the flour and cocoa. Worse still, the floor felt crunchy under his feet where he had spilt some sugar. So he got the vacuum cleaner out. That was when his troubles started. In his haste to tidy the kitchen, he put the hose on the wrong end of the cleaner by mistake. And instead of sucking, it blew. Paddington staggered back as all the old dust came out and rose into the air like a big black cloud. It landed everywhere, on the clean cups and saucers and plates, over the dusters and towels he had hung up to dry, over the table and chairs and the floor. It even landed on his cake mix. Paddington decided it was a good thing he was making a chocolate cake. At least it wouldn't show the dirt. Paddington started work all over again. He washed the breakfast things, then he washed the dusters and the towels, and hung them up to dry. And because the dusters were now wet, he thought he would use the vacuum cleaner to get rid of the dust. This time, he made sure the tube was on the right end. Using the vacuum cleaner was much more fun, and Paddington spent some time trying to write his name in the dust on top of the table. It wasn't until he got as far as the letter D that he noticed the mixing bowl was now empty. He stared at the end of the hose pipe, wondering what to do next. Paddington wasn't the sort of bear to be beaten, and looking at the end of the hose pipe gave him an idea. What had happened once could happen again. He put the hose pipe back onto the wrong end of the cleaner and then stood back, waiting to see if the cake mix would get blown out. For a second or two, nothing came out, and he was about to poke a spoon down inside to see if that would help, when there was a loud, rushing noise. One moment, the kitchen was as clean and shiny as a new pin. The next moment, it looked as if it had been raining chocolate. Paddington gazed unhappily around the room. It was in a worse state than before. In fact, he couldn't remember ever having seen such a mess. He gave a deep sigh, and for the third time that day set to work. He washed the breakfast things, then he washed the dusters and the towels and hung them up to dry. Then he scrubbed the floors and washed the walls and polished the table and chairs until it all looked as good as new. In fact, he cleaned everything except himself, but by then it was too late, for there was a ring at the front door bell. "Paddington," cried Mrs. Brown, "whatever have you been up to? Are you all right? You are covered in spots." "Brown ones," said Mrs. Bird suspiciously. Paddington looked at himself in the hall mirror and saw for the first time what a mess he was in. "I think I must have a bad attack of cleaning fever, Mrs. Bird," he said. Mrs. Bird hurried into the kitchen, but she had to admit she had never seen it looking quite so clean. And if she wondered why Paddington had spots on his duffel coat and hat, as well as on his whiskers, she didn't say anything. "I think," she said, "you had better go upstairs and have a nice hot bath." Paddington thought that was a very good idea. He felt tired after all his hard work. Afterward, when he was safely tucked in bed, Mrs. Brown brought him his supper on a tray. "You're looking better already," she said. "The rest must be doing you good." "It isn't so much the cleaning up that brings you out in spots, Mrs. Brown," said Paddington. "It's all the clearing up you have to do afterward." The end. All right. Next, we'll read a Dr. Seuss book. My son loves these Dr. Seuss books. He is a great fan of these. So, I'll read Mr. Brown Can Moo. Can You? By Dr. Seuss, a book of wonderful noises from Bright and Early Board Books, published by Random House. Oh, the wonderful sounds Mr. Brown can do. He can sound like a cow. He can go moo moo. He can sound like a bee. Mr. Brown can buzz. How about you? Can you go buzz buzz? He can sound like a cork. Pop, 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 pop. He can sound like horse feet. Clop, 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 clop. He can sound like a rooster. Cock-a-doodle-doo. He can sound like an owl. Hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo. Mr. Brown can do it. How about you? He can sound like the rain. Dibble, 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 dop. Dibble, 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 dop, dop, dop. He can sound like a clock. He can tick. He can talk. He can sound like a hand on a door. Knock, knock. Boom, boom, boom. Mr. Brown is a wonder. Boom, 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 Mr. Brown makes thunder. He makes lightning, splat, splat, splat. And it's very, very hard to make a noise like that. Mr. Brown can whisper, whisper, very soft, very high, like the soft, soft whisper of a butterfly. Maybe you can too. I think you ought to try. Oh, the wonderful sounds Mr. Brown can do. Why don't you try to do them too? Turn the page and let's review. Moo, moo, buzz, buzz, pop, pop, clop. Cock-a-doodle-doo, hoo-hoo, dibble-dibble-dop. Tick-tock, knock, knock, boom, boom, splat. Last a whisper, whisper, and that is that. It's a classic. We love the Seuss rhymes, and the art in those books is just phenomenal as well. Another type of book that my son likes is the flap books, the lift the flap. So the pages are hardboard, like cardboard, and there's flaps that move up and down or side to side, and it reveals different pictures or additional parts of the story. And he loves these. He loves these because he can't read, but he loves listening to stories, and he wants to get involved. He's always turning the pages when we read. So the book I have is Construction Site, Spring Delight in Easter Lift the Flap book by Sherry Dusky Rinker and Ag Ford. Okay, this is published, I believe, by Chronicle Books. Yes, okay. As great big trucks begin their day, warm sunshine melts the snow away. The cold gray days have finally passed. Hooray, now spring is here at last. The trucks start work, and as they do, they find springtime surprises too. Skid steer's pushing with her blade. Cement mixer pours concrete he's made. Side by side, they're working strong as robins sing a springtime song. Crane truck swings his boom around and lowers his hook to the ground. He grabs a load, then lifts his boom and finds bright tulips all in bloom. Dump truck has a busy day, hauling tons of dirt away. Flatbed hauls her heavy loads through the site and on the roads. Honk, honk, they greet the other trucks. Quack, quack, call out some baby ducks. Excavator does a spin. He revs, he's ready to begin. He digs right in, dirt starts to fly. Two little lambs look on nearby, while big bulldozer clears the ground. More spring surprises are soon found. He moves a mound of rock and sees some bunnies playing happily. When work is finished for the day, the trucks ask their new friends to stay. There's one more big surprise. An Easter egg hunt supersized. New beginnings, special friends. That's how this joyful spring day ends. With Easter blessings and delight. Happy spring construction site. The end. We'll do another Lift the Flap book. This is Little Critters. Where is My Frog? By Mercer Mayer. Published by Random House. Me and my dad are going fishing. Mom packed us a lunch, and I packed my pet frog. Dad didn't think taking Frog was a good idea, but I told him not to worry. When we got to the lake, Frog hopped out of the car. Oh no, where did Frog go? Is Frog in the log? No Frog. Is Frog hiding in the grass? No Frog. Is Frog up in the tree? Who? Is Frog under the rock? No Frog. Is Frog inside the tent? No Frog. Is Frog inside the cave? No Frog. Is Frog behind the bush? No he. Is Frog under the lily pad? Yes. Dad said, "How do you know which frog is your frog?" I said, "Dad, don't be silly. Of course I know which frog is my frog. That's why he's my frog." The end. Let's jump back over to another Dr. Seuss. You may hear me writing a little bit. I'm just writing down the time of when each book was, because I hope to have a picture on the screen of just the cover of the book. Okay, this is Hop on Pop by Dr. Seuss, a bright and early board book from Random House. Up, pop, pop is up. Cup, pup, pup in cup. Pup, cup, cup on pup. Red, red, they call me red. Red bed, I am in bed. Red Ned, Ted, and Ed in bed. All ball, we all play ball. Ball wall, up on a wall. All fall, fall off the wall. He, me, he is after me. Him, Jim, Jim is after him. CB, we see a bee. CB3, now we see three. 3 tree, 3 fish in a tree. Fish in a tree. How can that be? Pat, Pat, they call him Pat. Pat sat on a hat. Pat, cat, Pat sat on a cat. Pat, Pat, Pat sat on a bat. No, Pat, no, don't sit on that. Walk, walk, we like to walk. Walk, talk, we like to talk. Hop, pop, we like to hop. We like to hop on top of pop. Stop, you must not hop on pop. Say, what does this say? Ask me tomorrow, but not today. It says, see me, wee pat pup. tree bee top hop stop. The end. Okay, this next book is Learning with Llama Shapes. Let me find the information here. Okay, this was written by Anna Dudney, illustrations by J.T. Morrow, published by Viking, a division of Penguin Books. Learning with Llama Shapes. Llama and Mama are cooking a special dinner. Mama says, "Let's go to the farmer's market." Llama says to Mama, "There are so many shapes here." Llama sees rectangles everywhere. Can you find them? Look at all the fruits and vegetables. Mama needs carrots and grapes. There are squares everywhere. Uh-oh, looks like rain. Good thing Mama brought an umbrella. Do you see all the triangles? The sun is out again. Llama sees a friend. Pass the ball. There are so many circles. Can you find them all? Llama's getting hungry. Mama, can I have a cookie? Time for a sweet treat. Do you see all the stars? I'm so proud of you, says Mama. You found all the shapes. Let's go home and make our dinner. The end. Okay, this is the last book that we have. This book is called The Home Builders, written by Varsha Bajaj, illustrated by Simona Mulitani, published by Penguin Books. The Home Builders. Do you see the home builders? Deep on the trail, beneath the mound, down by the water, and safe off the ground. Under the earth, below the bridge, in the tall grass, high on a ridge. Do you see the builders work? Burrow and hide, tunnel and creep. Nibble and gnaw, explore and keep. Shovel and plow, construct and flit. Rummage and roam, gather and knit. Do you see the homes? Beds in leaf piles, dens snug and warm. Lodges on ponds, shelter from storms. Burrows with rooms, beehives and nests. Each of these homes soon will be blessed. Do you see the babies? Hatchlings go forth, fox cubs nuzzle. Beaver kits swim, owlets huddle. Mole pups slumber, bees fill the air. Timid fawns bond, wee eaglets stare. Do you see the families born to be wild, to work and play, learning to soar, growing each day? Snug and sheltered, as nighttime falls. Earth is our home, shared by us all. The end. Well, that's all the books I've gathered for today. If you like this, you can let me know, and I'm open to reading more of these, but I thought we would do something just a little different. And, out of necessity. I'm sure you've noticed, if you're watching, that the gameplay has been sped up quite a bit. And that's sort of inevitable. I didn't want to cut it early, so that's why I kind of made that choice to speed it up. But I hope you found this video relaxing, or if not relaxing, at least entertaining, or maybe even educational. I appreciate you stopping by, and I'm proud of you. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.